Hi everyone! So I have a new project that is sort of a spin-off of my ProjectPanPorn, a little bit of a 1 month, one palette. However, it may be a little bit more or a little bit less than 1 month with a particular palette. I'm calling it Edge of Extinction because I've been watching Survivor. Yes, still. It is still on the air and I do still watch it. I love it very much actually, and this has been a great season so far, and I was just trying to think of names honestly for a project, and I almost went with like farewell tour because music, and I was thinking how funny that would be, but then Edge of Extinction, eyeshadow palettes just sort of stuck in my head. So that's what I'm doing, and the first palette I will be playing with is the Modern Renaissance palette from Anastasia. So this is a formerly once very well loved, this was a very major moment with the beauty community. This palette was huge and pretty much everybody had it, and I used this quite a bit, stopped using it, used it to try and hit pan on, and then I kind of put it aside. And I was having a conversation with my friend Emily, and she's like, maybe you should get rid of it. And I was like, maybe I should, or maybe I should just, you know, use it a little bit more and see what I can do with it. But it's definitely declined in quality drastically. The shadows are nowhere near what they were before, which makes sense because this is a fairly old palette. So it really is time for me to say farewell, and that's why this palette is on the edge of extinction, because I just want to get a little bit more use from it. I'd like to ideally hit pan on all the shadows in here, and there's really 3 shadows I haven't hit pan on, so I think it's pretty doable that I can hit pan on those 3 shadows and then just sort of see what happens with the rest of them. So the majority of the shadows in this palette are matte, which is why it's been pretty easy to hit pan on these shadows. They're pretty powdery. I don't like using too many at one time or things get kind of muddy. I really threw on a whole bunch of shadows right now, but you can see how not intense shadows like Venetian Red and Red Ochre, Love Letter are now. Like, they just are so not great. But I haven't noticed any sort of smells, no sort of weird texture issues. It's really just been the color, because if there were sort of issues, things that noticeably screamed expired, I would have just tossed this. So some people really live and die by the expiry dates. I'm definitely not one of those people. As long as something still seems to be in relatively good condition, I will still use it, even if it has decreased in quality. It's still workable. I can still do a thing, but it's just not as good as it has been before. So Raw Sienna, Real Gur, and Buon Fresco are the 3 shades that I don't have pan on yet, so that's going to be sort of my goal here, and I'm just using this as my daily palette. I have been using this as my palette for the last probably 3 or 4 days, maybe even a week. I can't exactly remember when I did start using this. I did bring it back and forth to my boyfriend's house this week, and I have been putting it right with the rest of my makeup stuff so that it is the thing that I reach for every day. And I've been doing generally pretty basic looks with this, using 1 to 2 shadows, but occasionally throwing a few more things on just to play with it and see what I can do with it, and just to experience Modern Renaissance again, because I felt like this was a very cool moment. And when a lot of these shades ended up becoming a lot more accessible. Before this palette, it was very difficult to find orange shadows, reds, and pinks. Now I think we're probably oversaturated a little bit. I know a lot of people like myself have been wanting more cooler tones and away from these sort of shades, but this is very popular and very wearable, and I think a lot of people were gravitating towards this because it is a combination of extremely neutral wearable tones and a little bit more color, but you can definitely tone down the color as well, and you can make very dramatic looks with this palette, but you can also make very subtle looks with this palette. So this is a very good palette. Mine is just old, so I have nothing against Modern Renaissance. I'm not a huge fan of the Anastasia eyeshadow formula in general. I do find the mattes to be too powdery for my usage and the way that I like to apply eyeshadows. I do really love the metallic formula a lot though, probably one of my favorites, but the mattes, not a winner for me, which is why I generally stay away from Anastasia palettes anyway. But I thought this would be a fun project to play with the shadows a little bit more, get some more usage out of things, and then also be able to declutter things, because then once I am satisfied with the usage I have on this, I feel like I can let it go without having it clutter the rest of my collection and just sort of sit there, because there's really no point in that. It's not going to get used, and it's only going to continue to decline in quality, and I don't see me reaching for it over some other things. And I do have other shadows that are newer or just a better formula, in my opinion, that has aged better. Let's just put it that way, just in my opinion. And I'll go through those things, and I just decided to start here first with the Modern Renaissance, and I'm just going to go through a lot of the things that I have with my Edge of Extinction project. I feel like this could be a very fun thing to take me through 2020, and a fun way to rotate through my eyeshadows. So let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns. Let me know if there are any other kinds of videos you would like to see with the Modern Renaissance. I feel like I am going to put it to the test. I am going to try a few different little fun things, and I really want to give it a farewell tour. You know, I want to do a tutorial with it. I want to do a get ready with me. I want to do like a palette bingo. I want to just talk about the influence of Modern Renaissance. I kind of just want to do a whole month-ish about this palette, these sort of themes, and just sort of go from there. This won't obviously be all of my content, because I do have stuff like no-buy updates, and I have a bunch of other chatty videos and stuff that I want to talk about as well. But I thought it might be fun to throw in a few of those things as well. And I'm open to any suggestions that anybody else has as well. If there's any other things you would like to see. I don't know how long exactly I'm going to play with this palette, so if you guys want a very specific update time, like if you want a update in a month, in 3 weeks, or not an official sort of Edge of Extinction check-in until I'm switching the palette out, let me know. I'm really open to all of your guys' feedback with projects like this. It's a lot of fun when people are behind it and excited for it, and that was what was so fun about Project Pans and Pan That Palette before, and even Project Panporn, was hearing people's ideas and suggestions and what they sort of wanted to see. I would like to be able to film a few other looks too, and maybe post things on Instagram. I've been wanting to take more videos and do more like IGTV things, and then maybe even take some pictures or videos and save it to my stories and do little updates, sort of like pan progress, if you guys were interested in that as well, because I love me some pan porn. So anyway, let me know what you think about this and what sort of content you would be interested in seeing involving the Modern Renaissance while it goes on its farewell tour. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any suggestions for like color combinations as well, or things that I can do with this palette, because I'm definitely not going to just stay with this palette as well. I'm not afraid to bring other things in. I haven't as of yet, because this is sort of the way that I approach palettes when I first put them in, something like a Pan That Palette or Project Panporn, something like this. I like to just sort of see what I can do with it, and then find the weaknesses, the limitations, and then feel what I need to pull in from there. Maybe even end up doing some Franken shadows or something. Maybe mix some of these shadows together, or mix it with something else and create something entirely new. That could also be fun as well. So anyway, like I said, open to anything. Very much like to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching and spending some time with me today. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I hope we get a chance to chat soon. Bye for now.